Hey, um, so I'm not really sure if I have ever fully sat down and told this story, but maybe I have. And if I have, then, you know, scroll on. But a lot of people may or may not know that I had a daughter in 2018. It was a really rough pregnancy. Um, I was sick a lot. I lost a lot of weight, and I had bronchitis like the entire time. Like they were fixing to tell me that like I was fixing to have like chronic bronchitis, which is like basically lifelong bronchitis. Um, it was a wild pregnancy, and my first pregnancy with my daughter Lena, it was a beautiful pregnancy. My water broke on its own. I had her. uh let's see, I went to the hospital at about, let's see, my water broke at like 4:30 and she was born at 1:43 in the morning. So it was like a pretty quick delivery. But now my daughter Arabella, she did not want to come out. And from the get-go, they were seeing things that were pointing towards Down syndrome. And then at one point they mentioned club feet. My husband and I, we didn't really have a problem with that. We're going to love the child regardless. But she was not gaining any size, and they call that GERD, I think. I can't remember what it stands for. There was so much during that time, but we ended up getting induced, and she was born on May 7th at 9:55 in the morning. um what had happened was they broke my water because I was having contractions, but she wasn't coming. So they broke my water, and when they broke my water, her umbilical cord um fell down below her to where it was blocking the opening of my cervix. So they ended up having to do an emergency C-section. And so, like I said, she was born. Um, and as soon as the doctor pulled her out, my husband said that the doctor's face fell. And my husband knew that something was wrong. And they immediately, I got to see her for half a second. It was not the most pleasant labor. I had eaten something and I shouldn't have done that, and I was basically knocked out. Not knocked out, but I was flat on my back out of it because they had me so doped up. Um, and I'm like puking. I'm just puking. It was like horrific. My husband was like so traumatized from it, but either way, she um I saw her for a moment, and then they rushed her off to the NICU. And then they took me back to my room, and I was like, what's wrong with her? And they were like, after a baby's born by C-section, they get some fluid on their lungs and yada yada yada. But and I was so out of it, y'all. I was so out of it. But the doctor came and talked to us and said that, something was going on. They weren't really sure what, but they were going to have to run some tests. So this is Monday, okay? Wednesday, I think Tuesday, we got to go see her. Wednesday, we finally found out that they had run a panel of tests and they had discovered that she had trisomy 18, which is Edwards syndrome. Um, what is horrific about that diagnosis is that the baby can live anywhere from like 4 to 12 days. That's it. You don't get any more than that. I've had people ask me if we had tested, prior, and we did not because, like I said, it was a very rough pregnancy, and we already were thinking that she might have Down syndrome, which is trisomy 21. And our doctor told us, that the man in town that did that testing was very prone to encourage abortions. And with everything that I had going on, I was just like, I'm not doing that. Um, you know, for a while there, I really felt like, people should have that testing done because I didn't know. I didn't know anything about that. I mean, it was like the furthest thing from my mind that something like that would happen. Um, but she was beautiful. She was perfect. Um, she looks so much like my husband. My daughter Elena looks a lot like me. So it was like his little mini me, and she was so tiny and so perfect. And we spent as much time as we could with her. Insurance let us stay there for 5 days, and I sang to her. I read to her. Um, we got to give her bath. Um, I never did get to nurse her, but I did pump, and I got to do all the things that I could possibly do. Um, but on day 6, we had to leave the hospital, and we got a phone call that she wasn't doing very good. And so they asked us to come, and we left. It took us about 30 to 45 minutes to get to the hospital. And by the time we got there, she had already passed. So they kept her warm for us. And y'all, this is really hard. I can't believe that I'm not like in tears because it's just really hard to tell all of this. But on the way there, I had so many what ifs. What if we had done something different? What if we'd have got a doctor to come in? What if, what if, what if, what if? Um, but we got there, and we loved on her, and we held her, and we said our goodbyes. And I was devastated. I swear, in those 6 days, I probably cried more tears than I had my entire life. Like, all the tears that I had ever cried ever, I cried in that week. And then some. um it was hard, but God. I'm a Christian. I believe in Jesus. I believe in the Holy Spirit. I have been Holy Spirit baptized. I have been water baptized. I gave my life to Christ when I was 8 years old. Um, and I got away from it. There's other videos about that, but when I walked out of that NICU, I received the peace that surpasses all understanding, because it should have took me to my knees. It should have took me out. And I actually learned just recently that in Samuel, I don't know if it's first or second, I have another video on that too. Um, King David lost his son that he had with Bathsheba, and he it was almost exactly the same situation. He mourned and he grieved, but as soon as he lost the child, he got up and he lived his life, because God doesn't mean for you to live in grief forever. And I feel so blessed. to have had those 6 days with her. But if you are struggling with trisomy, with a child that may have trisomy 18, um, my heart goes out to you. And I would love to talk to you. And if there is anything that I can do to encourage you or pray for you, I would love to do that. I hope you have such a blessed night.